Here we go with the final regular season update. Going for green, week 14. And I'll tell you now, it was a crazy week, and we'll get into it. The scores for the week. Ready for football, the only road team to win, and that win gave them the division win over fourth and long. The high scorers came from the same game this week. Bikini Bottom, when he needed it, with 141.92 points. Over Finn Daddy with the second highest total, 138.12. And we'll talk about some of these games in a bit. Our final regular season standings: Nighthawks wins the Diamonds division with an impressive 11-3 record. Finn Daddy wins the Clubs division at 8-6. And Ready for Football wins the Hearts division at 8-6. And Ready for Football, they needed this 4-game win streak at the end of the season to pull out the division win. And heartbreak for Hey New Guy, finished on a 4-game losing streak. 2 of those 3 losses have to be some of the most brutal losses that we've seen, and we'll talk about one of them coming up. And they missed the playoffs by a game. So here, let's take a look at week 14 and all the crazy activity that was going on in the new feature, Scoreboard Watching. So there were 5 teams still alive going into this last week for 2 playoff spots. Bikini Bottom and Pocket Rockets really had the upper hand with 1 extra win, but Move the Chains, Doc, and Hey New Guy all could get in with a win and some help. And because of points scored, New Guy really had the upper hand if he could pull off a win. Move the Chains needed Pocket Rockets to win to keep their hopes alive, as did Doc. I forgot to mention Doc also needed a Pocket Rockets win in that game. And you'll see both of us needed Finn Daddy to win. But in that game, Pocket Rockets and Hey New Guy seemed to be in control of the game. They were ahead going into the Chicago-Green Bay game, but Aaron Rodgers started going off in that game. And even though Hey New Guy seemed to still be in control, even with after Green Bay's final score, for some reason, Chicago then started realizing David Montgomery was on the team. They kept feeding Montgomery on their last drive, and on his very last, I believe it was a reception, he went, Pocket Rockets took the lead over Hey New Guy by 0.04 points. Crazy. And then what was even more crazy, I wasn't watching the game because I was in Mexico, but I was watching the score updates on my phone, and I'm like, oh, well, Green Bay is going to just take a knee, and if Rodgers loses a yard, then Hey New Guy pulls out the win. But again, for some unknown reason, they brought in Kurt Benkirk, whoever that is, to take the last 2 knees and to take the -1 yard, and Hey New Guy loses the game by 0.04 points. Crazy! But that win by Pocket Rockets kept Move the Chains and Doc alive, and Move the Chains and Doc took care of business by beating Hail Mary and Guinness Gas. So now it came down to both Move the Chains and Doc needing Finn Daddy to beat Bikini Bottom. And what made this even more crazy between Move the Chains and Doc is that Move the Chains also had to hold on to a point score lead over Doc in the tiebreaker for total points scored for the season. Well, at the end of the Doc's game, he fell 4 points shy of Move the Chains' year-to-date score. So now, Move the Chains was alive if Finn Daddy could pull out the win. And Bikini Bottom, going into the Monday night, they were in control over Finn Daddy, but both teams had guys going Monday night. Bikini Bottom had the Rams defense. Finn Daddy had DeAndre Hopkins. And it was just crazy. Every time the Cards scored and racked up yards, the Rams' points kept going down. The Cardinals really weren't feeding Hopkins much until the very end of the game, when on the second to last drive before the onside kick, they started throwing to Hopkins' way, even went to the end zone for an incomplete pass. But unfortunately for Move the Chains, Finn Daddy fell a few points short, and Hopkins had to come out of that game with an injury right before the onside kick. So even after the onside kick recovery, Move the Chains knew they were done, and Bikini Bottom held on for the victory and held on to that last playoff spot. Some transactions, highs and lows. So New Guy was on both sides of this week, picking up Jalen Guyton, who had a huge 20.2 points, but then also picking up Dontrell Hilliard, who only gave him 1.3 points, and in that 0.04 point loss, that Hilliard low score really hurts. So here we are, playoff time. Here are the playoff matchups for week 1. Hail Mary against Nighthawks. Nighthawks is 2-0 against Hail Mary this year in 2 pretty decisive wins. Bikini Bottom against Finn Daddy. And again, interestingly enough, all our matchups are divisional matchups. Bikini Bottom swept the division winner, Finn Daddy. Even though Finn Daddy won the division, Bikini Bottom did sweep Finn Daddy this year. And we'll see what happens in this playoff matchup. And Pocket Rockets against Ready for Football. Ready for Football is 2-0 against Pocket Rockets this year. Can they make it 3-0? And then in the final matchup, Hail Mary against Onside Kick. These teams split during the regular season, so we'll see who wins this rubber game. And remember, after the first week, we reseed for week 2 with the best seed playing the worst remaining seed and the other 2 teams playing each other. Records and notables for the week and for the season. So Nighthawks moved into the number 5 position in all-time league wins. They now have 144 wins. And they had the 3rd most regular season wins, racking up 11 wins this season. And then in most points scored in a season, we had 4 teams break the top 10. And again, that extra game helped. But Nighthawks is now first place in all-time total points scored in a season. 4th and long in 3rd place, Pocket Rockets 8th, and Finn Daddy in 9th. Okay, now, a little bad news. I goofed. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but it happened. So with the extra week of football, I was all over getting the schedule straightened out, but I forgot to update the payout schedule. So just walking you through this, because there was an extra week, there were more weekly winners and more weekly high score winners. So there was $110 unfunded from the league fees. So what I've done in the column new amount column, I reduced the weekly winner amount from 15 to 14. I reduced the first place winner reward from 65 to 63. And sorry, Andy, but I took away the assistant commissioner salary for this season from $20 to zero to make up for the $110 shortfall. So this is the new payout schedule, and the spreadsheet's actually been updated to reflect these new amounts. I also had to change how the portion of transaction fees that goes to winners gets distributed. It was still divided by 78 wins, so I had to update that to divide by 84 wins. So everyone may notice that they have a little less money from the transaction pool. And then in the off season, I'm going to propose that we increase our league fees by the $10 a team would give us an extra $120, would cover this shortfall, plus maybe 10 extra bucks for the Super Bowl winner. So we could talk about that in the off season. And I believe that's it. So everyone, have a great week, and I'll be back next week. Bye.